So I want to take this time to ask the most general question about philosophy of religion. Can we know God? What is the meaning of our existence? And I'm going to think about it in theological terms. And the first thing I'm going to say is that it's okay to have a sense of doubt about it. Temptation's always there, but it's not a matter of this malevolent demon trying to make us doubt. I think God is wrapped in mystery and enigma. God's very difficult to understand. And a lot of the religions have gotten it wrong here, there, and everywhere. So it's not this important life or death you have to believe or you be condemned to hell. I don't want to think in those terms. I think God is much more cool about it than that. That's human beings saying that. And I think that physics, science, can tell us a lot of things important to us about life, but I think religion and science are different things. Science is different than religion. They ask different questions. So can we get a scientific answer? I don't think so. I don't think the Big Bang is creation. I don't think what we mean by creation is the Big Bang necessarily. They may be related, um, but they're really different questions. So I don't think we can find a scientific answer to the question of God. Right? And religion deals more with a sense of personal purpose than with the questions of how and what the universe is, which is what science deals with. And belief in God is also very tricky because there are many people who believe in God, believe in a divine being, but they're very fanatical and they can be violent. Um, and that really shows that people who believe in God can be inhuman. They believe in some sort of God, some sort of divine being revealed to them, and yet in their behavior they act in ways that seem to contradict this idea of God as being love. God is the greatest and most beautiful thing that there is. Uh, so just having that intellectual belief, that belief in your mind, oh, there is a God and I know that and I have that, does not necessarily translate into being a good person or living a good life or being in touch with what that God really what probably is, if God is this fount of love and joy and bliss. Um, Maybe just having an intellectual, mental, cognitive belief is not enough. It's got to be something different than that kind of fanatical belief. So I like to start off, and I sort of always end off in some ways with a sense of mystery, a sense of unknown. But it's not an unknown like a fill in the blank of science. Like for physics, there would be dark matter. They believe that there's a lot of matter in the universe which is just not at this point observable. And they have reasons for thinking it exists, but they really don't know what it is at all. Um, and they don't know how to see it or get direct evidence for it. There's indirect evidence. Um, so that's sort of an unknown, that's a mystery. But I think the mystery, when I talk about the mystery of religion, it's a much more deep mystery. It's much more personal mystery. It's part of us as well. And that mystery can be where we hold God, hold our hopes for the divine. So it's a fruitful mystery that helps define who we are. And that mystery, in a way, has a mysterious pull on us, an effect on us, I believe. That's also mysterious, is it can help us live with more joy, more bliss, more authentically. So I think that is part of the goal that balances belief in God is how do we become more authentic? It's not so much what we believe, that can be part of it, but it's this path to maturity, this path to greater joys, love, compassion, bliss, authenticity, integrity, the Christians talk about agape, this love that's not just about love for what I'm getting out of it. And to be able to commit to that, it's very beautiful. And beauty is another part of this mystery as well. To hold this mystery, we try to fill it with what is most beautiful, not just the physical, but other kinds of beauty, moral beauty, ethical beauty, psychological beauty, the beauty of human action. When someone really does something right, when they pay it forward, that's beautiful. And by holding the mystery, we can still experience that on our path to an authentic human life. So this mystery does have power. It has a certain reality in our lives. And it balances this quest for knowing God. Perhaps God is not something we can know in the sense of owning God and naming God. Perhaps the universe just doesn't work that way, and God doesn't want it to work that way. Perhaps the goal is to answer the questions God is asking of us. Perhaps we don't get to ask all the questions and expect answers. Perhaps God is asking, who are you? Where are you? Where is your brother? Where is your sister? Who are you going to be? And the task of life is to become the best possible version of yourself in answer to those questions. So perhaps ultimately what we can do is remove barriers and obstacles to love, to the divine. Perhaps that's part of our task. Perhaps there's a certain austerity in life and religion. It's not all a party. It's not all fun. Perhaps there's a certain austerity that we need to go through to find maturity and authenticity. And perhaps God is not so much interested in us having a good time all the time, but being more like who God is. Ultimately caring, capable of loving others, being able to regulate values and to see them what is more valuable, what is truly good and authentic and loving. And that makes sense, that if there is a God, God is interested less in our pleasure and more in our authenticity. And that is the task of human life. And that means we are tasked with finding really the true joys and the bliss in life. And that is what the mystery can open us up to. At times, life is existence in the desert. We're 40 years in the desert. We're a lifetime in the desert. And if you're able and willing to get through it, there's a fruitful land in the future. And that fruitful land is your own maturity, your own greater capacity for greater joys. Thank you for listening.